for folks trying to finish the exam before it expired. So yeah, I mean, great stuff over there.
Thank you. Okay, so let me start with the presentation. Okay, as I said, my name is Avdis Koftayan. I'm cloud software engineer and currently community builder, AWS community builder. Okay, so today we're going to talk about developing Alexa skills using Arabic language. I tried to split the logic between English and Arabic, and I will do a kind of comparison. So how we can see how it's easy actually to add Arabic language to your skill too. Okay, first I'm going to start with design. I have a quick question. What do you think, or what pops up in your mind first when we say design for Alexa skill? Any ideas? Okay. So design, we mean we're going to design the voice interaction.
Avdis, so just guys, you can put your answers in the comment section on any of the channels you are watching our stream on, and Avdis will answer your questions or answers and comments. Yeah, sorry. So it's all yours, Avdis. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Anas. Okay, so by design, we mean we're going to design the interaction model through Alexa, right? So what are the options that might the client ask to the device? What we have possibilities that the user will be asking or talking with the device. So by design, we mean this. Okay, to split the design into subcategories, let's say, first we have the intent. Intent is like when you ask something to Alexa, it will trigger an intent. And intent is when you can handle through the code. So what did happen? Like, for example, if I ask Alexa, what's my schedule for this week? So what's my schedule for this week? The whole utterance, it's connected to an intent. Let's say my schedule intent. So my schedule intent, you can handle it from the code. Later on, after the presentation, we're going to see the code too, and you do the logic behind it. We have the utterances. So the whole question is the utterance, let's say. Custom slots is when you have something like variable you want to add inside the interaction. So for example, what's my schedule for Monday? So Monday is a custom slot, and it can be Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. And dialogue model is when you have an interaction between the Alexa and, for example, you ask a question, Alexa answers it, then it waits for another question or answer, and you reply it. So it stays on the skill until there is an interaction between both of you. Okay, so for example, Alexa ask random codes. Let's split this utterance, let's say, okay. First, Alexa is the wake word. So when you say Alexa, Alexa will listen the continue of the sentence that you're asking to it. Okay, ask is the launcher so we have a start, ask, tell, play. All these are like ask. When you say ask, it listens what's coming next. Let's say what's the invocation. Okay, and the random code is the invocation name that will go to the specific intent. Okay. Down here we have two examples. Give me a code or I want a code. So these two are utterances, okay, that trigger random code intent. Okay, so once you ask either of these two utterances, the Alexa will trigger random code intent, and inside the code you can handle your logic. Okay, so for architecture, we have two types of hosting your Alexa skills. Okay, first you can host it by Alexa hosted, so you don't need AWS account, just you need the Alexa developer account, which is Amazon developer account. And again, we're going to see after the presentation the console. So all the resources like S3 bucket or DynamoDB, everything Lambda function, everything will be handled by Alexa. And you actually can go and see, like you can visit the CloudWatch and see what's going on. Or you have provision your own. So basically, you have in the other case you have AWS account, and you host your skills on your services, on your resources, right? So the DynamoDB will be inside your AWS account, S3 bucket will be inside your AWS account, and etc. Or you can do a combination, which I prefer sometimes doing so. So for example, you can host your Alexa skill purely Alexa hosted, right? And if you have a AWS account and you want to communicate with your own DynamoDB table, let's say, you can use STS, which will give you temporary credentials to give you permissions to do queries on your table. Okay, so quick view on Alexa, let's say architecture and what's going on. So the Alexa actually it's a device. So device it's nothing, it's purely hardware that just listens your voice and records and sends to the internet, which is the Amazon Alexa. So Amazon Alexa is the main service. Then it goes through a developer console, which we have a voice interaction model, right? So that previously we saw the intents, utterances, the different possibilities that the Amazon Alexa will receive from the client. Then it communicates with your resources. So basically, it's a one Lambda function, Alexa skill, and it communicates with your resources. You have the Dynamo table, CloudWatch, CloudFront, etc. Okay, and after it does the logic behind the scenes in the backend, it returns the response. Let's say again, it goes to Amazon Alexa as the service and returns or speaks to the device. Okay, so the third phase, first we saw the design, architecture, and now the development. So development phase, we're going to concentrate on how you develop your skills and how you have the interaction model and the Alexa developer console. Okay, just 1 minute. Okay, so let's see Alexa skills kit, the Ask CLI. So you have an CLI that you can debug, deploy, clone everything from directly. You can communicate with Alexa as the service. Okay, so for example, here I added some examples. First, we have Ask New. Ask New will create a new skill. Then after you write Ask New, it will prompt you questions like you want Node.js, Python, Java, what you have or what you want the language to be. And again, it will ask you like several questions to create your new skill. You have Ask New template URL that you can pass if you haven't already created, let's say, Alexa skill, and you want to clone it from GitHub or any source control service, you can use directly Ask New template and pass the Git URL. And the third one is Ask Init hosted skill. Okay, so the third one is for if you're using Alexa hosted skill, which is hosted by Alexa directly. So you can use it by passing double hyphen hosted skill ID, and your hosted skill ID, you can get it from the developer console. Okay, so in order to debug your skill, you can use 2 ways. You can use the Amazon developer console, the Alexa developer console, okay, where you have a test UI and you can just talk from the microphone, or you can just type anything and test your skill, or you can use the Ask CLI, which is when you type Ask Dialog local and pass the language you prefer to debug, it will open a connection between you and Alexa, and you can just type the utterances or the questions, anything you want to test it through the CLI. Okay.
Oh, just if you can hide the comment, the sharing your screen comment on the bottom of the screen. Yeah, cool. Thank you.
But okay.
Just because we're recording. Okay.
It's okay. Okay, so the presentation is done. I'm going to go through, first I'm going to go through the console. Anas, I'm going to go through the console and then I'm going to go through the code, right? Okay.
Okay. Share it.
Okay. So I took an example, a random code. A random code is a skill I developed that you ask Alexa, you want a random code, and it gives you a random code, okay? Or then you can ask, let's say you want a motivation code or business code. So it categorizes, and again, it gives you a code that hopefully will enhance your day. It's on Arabic and English languages both. So I'm going to go through first, discuss it more, let's say. So first, to add the language, okay, you enter. Okay, so this is Alexa Developer Console. So you need to create an account basically on Amazon and then enable using Alexa Developer Console in order to start developing Alexa skills. Okay, so you can add a new skill in here. So I added the Arabic. Okay, so we have the interaction model. First, let's go through the invocation. So our invocation is كول عشوائي. So it's a random code. Once you say كول عشوائي, and it will run or listen your skill. Okay, so interaction model. First, we have some built-in intents that it's generated from the Alexa skill once you create a new skill. So for example, cancel intent, help intent, all this stuff are just there, and you can delete them, and they are necessary to be in there in case you want to distribute your skill. Okay, so I added the random count intent. Okay, so first we have here the utterances, the two sample utterances. So these are the utterances that will trigger my random code intent. Okay, so once the user says, Alexa, I want this random code, من فضلك أعطيني قولا, so it will generate trigger random code intent. When you say أريد قولا, again it will generate this intent. Okay, so let me go test it quickly. Okay, so here you can change the language. I'm going to stay on Arabic. I have saved the text in here. Just 1 minute. Okay.
ليس لدي إجابة لهذا.
Okay, so 1 minute. I think it should be enabled or refresh the token. Yeah. Okay, so here you can test your skill. You can ask, or you can ask it through the microphone, and it will listen and trigger and do test. Okay. If we go through the code, I'm gonna check this one. Okay, so we saw the random code intent. Okay, it was a custom intent that I added inside the interaction model. Okay, so every time the user asks the utterances, the possible utterances, it will trigger this intent, and it will do your logic. Okay, which is in here. I'm gonna go through the I18 and 2. So first, to add to have multiple language possibility inside your skill, first you can install I18 next library. Okay, then we have some code in here. So for example, this guy here listens to the enabled language of your skill. Then it passes to the helper function localization client. Okay, and it will be available in whole your code so that you can check if the user currently is speaking in Arabic language or in English language. Okay, in here I'm just going through the enabled language. Then I'm checking my locals. If it's an array, I'm returning a random code, or I return the value. So for example here, so the skill is divided in two phases. First, we have here hard-coded the sayings of the reply of the Alexa. Then once I cover this one, we're going to go through how we can query the responses from the Dynamo table. Okay, so first we have here the English and the Arabic split it into attributes. So for example, here this function checks if the attribute is a string, it will return the string itself. If it's an array, it will return random code. Okay, so if we return to our random code intent, so here I can use it handler input. I pass the t function, and I pass the signal, the attribute itself. So code's message, it will come here, and it will take the value of it. And if it's array, it will return random one. Okay, and every intent handler, it will be wrapped inside your add request handler. So add request handler here, Alexa will listen for the coming intents, let's say, okay, the utterances, and it will trigger or run your preferred intent. And by the way, I'm using this template. It's generated directly from Alexa. So yeah, so it's for example, these guys in here, launch request, help intent, stop intent, all these are generated through the code. So I just add my stuff in here. So for example, I added these two intents, this one and here, and the I18 and okay. Okay, so here we have the package JSON. Index is the lambda function. Okay. Okay. So you can create your interaction model. Either you can write it in JSON format and upload it later on inside your developer console, Alexa developer console, or you can extract it from there. So I prefer doing it like I add the utterances and the stuff that I want to add it inside the console right in here. Okay, once I add everything, then I generate through the JSON editor, it will generate me the JSON file. Then I just copy paste it inside of this file, and it will be up to date. Or you can write it in here and paste it inside your developer console, and it will create your utterances or anything that you want to add. Okay, so basically when you add a new language, you're gonna have two interaction model for each language. So this is for English, okay, and this is for Arabic. So for example, we saw the samples, I'm gonna go with this one, samples. So that we saw inside the interaction model, it's just in here in JSON format. And these two utterances, they are triggering my intent, random count intent. Okay. In the second one, I'm using custom code. This is a custom slot that Alexa gives you. It's in variable. Okay. So I'm using just a minute. Okay, so in our case here, I'm using the custom code. I name it custom code. It's a custom slot. So I choose the search query. Search query is an built-in slot type. Okay, so if you ask something, it will directly process and return its value. So if you ask motivation, the motivation word itself, it will be understood by Alexa through Amazon search query, and it will return the characters like written motivation. Okay, so there is several other built-in slot types that you can use. And if you want a custom one, you can create a custom one, and you can pass, for example, enums of it. Like, for example, you can create an, let's say, date or day, and pass it like a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, etc. The options that are available will be connected to the custom slot that you added. So if you ask something outside of the available slot types, so it will give you an error and will be asking or prompting you to give an right option. Okay, so in case of custom slot, you just add it through using curly brackets. So for example, here I added Artinic Maquila custom code. So custom code is the utterance that we added, and it will listen it through using Amazon search query. Okay, here we have the custom code intent. So if I return to the code, okay, so this one we saw it for random code. Okay, so the custom code intent, actually in here I'm using DynamoDB2. So this skill is hosted, it's not hosted on Alexa, it's not Alexa hosted, it's hosted on my AWS account. So I'm gonna go through the DynamoDB table in a bit. So custom code intent, every time you ask the Alexa, either one of these utterances, it will trigger the custom code intent. Then I'm gonna take using this using handler request, etc. This path, you can get the slot value. So when you say motivation, it will return here the motivation word itself. Then we have language ID. I use it just to take the ID of the language. So if it's in English, I take the EN characters. If it's Arabic, I take the AR characters. So just to be to do the query in order to return the preferred languages. So after I take the language ID, let's say for example it's an AR Arabic language, I do the query. So the query is in here. I'm using query helper. So I pass the language ID. It's a super simple query to DynamoDB table, and I'm returning the content of my preferred language. So I'm gonna go quickly to my table. Here is my table. Okay, so in our table, this is the English one. Okay, I'm gonna just go through the Arabic one. Okay, so after you pass the language ID, so if it's an Arabic, it will return AR-SA. So when you pass the language ID, it does a query and return these options of the table. So for example, here is the language ID. For English, we have ENUS. And I pass in here. Okay, so yeah. So after it returns me the language, the options that we have. So we have first we have the category of Amal, which is business codes, Tanshit, which is motivation codes, right? So, oops, sorry. So once it returns me the all available options, I take the slot value, which is, let's say, motivation or Tanshit itself, the word. So I pass it to or I take the whole array inside this category type, and I take a random one. Okay, so then after you took your value that you want to respond or speak through your Alexa skill, all you have to do is return header input response builder and pass it inside your speak function, speak out, and get response. Okay, this way it will return an kind of random code, random preferred language and preferred category type code. Okay, this is for Arabic, and again, the English is the same way. Okay. Let me see. Okay, so these are all the code. Again, these are generated directly from the template itself. So we have several stuff. So it handles like if you're saying yes or no, or stop Alexa, or cancel, or help. So all this stuff are handled through the skill itself, and yeah. Okay, so inside the code, if you return to Alexa Developer Console, if your skill was Alexa hosted, you can see the code by itself here, and you can edit and deploy it, everything. So because it's not an Alexa hosted skill, so I'm not able to see the IDE in here directly. So yeah. Okay, before testing, test should work fine. So, okay, so just to go quickly on the distribution. So in order to distribute your skill, okay, so we have the language Arabic and the English store. Okay, so you need to fill some stuff like the name of your skill. Okay, you add some description, then this little description, what's new every time you release something new, you need to add what are the new stuff that you added, or what are the updates that you've done. Again, we have here this icons, how you want the skill to be shown inside the Alexa app, categories, keywords, and yeah, these are for terms. So once you distribute your Alexa skill, it takes like about 2 days around in order. It's been in order to review. Okay, once they review, they give you permissions to enter the store or to enter the market. Okay, this is the certification phase that you need to go again after you distribute your skill. Okay, so I'm gonna test it. let's keep it like this. Okay.
Welcome to random quote. Say I want a quote. You must be the change you wish to see in the world.
Okay.
Gandhi.
Okay, so again, it's always a good, or let's say the best practice to try as much as possible to do an interaction between you and Alexa. So here first, for example, I ask for a random code, right? So the Alexa replied me, "Welcome to random code. Say I want a code." So I'm just this is a good way to kind of redirect the users in order they are not lost. So I'm just saying the user, if you want a new code or a random code, say I want a code. So once they reply, I want a code, I give him the code. So kind of this way it makes more easy and more obvious, let's say, between the client and the Alexa, the communication between them. Okay, I just want to try the Arabic one. Or actually, I'm just going to try the English, the custom slot one. So give me a motivation code.
Okay, here's random quotes. Here's your quote. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain.
Nope.
I don't know that. Welcome to random quote. Say I want a quote. Hard days are what make you stronger.
Okay.
Ali Raisman.
Okay, so here I passed the custom slide as the motivation itself. So, and it's English. So the query that I've done in this process, so if I go through the English, okay, so it was in English, obviously, and the category type or the slot type was motivation. So I received the hard days code, it should be in here. Okay, so the hard days, yeah. So again, it took every code that is available inside my motivation category or type, and it returned just a random one between them. Okay, I'm just not sure why the Arabic. I just want to try it. Okay, so if I ask Alexa افتح قول عشوائي.
ليس لدي إجابة لذلك.
I think I'm missing some. Yeah, I think maybe there is a typo or something. Okay, so yeah, so Another topic that I want to discuss is when you want kind of to authenticate your users when they are communicating or interacting with Alexa. So you have a good method that you can use actually Cognito. Again, if it's inside your AWS account or Alexa hosted, you can use an Cognito resource by using account linking. So when you use account linking inside Alexa, you kind of making an authorization and authentication between the client and connection between the client and the Alexa. So in that case, you can kind of let's say personalize more the skill, and every time the authenticated users will get different types of utterances, different types of interaction between them. So yeah, okay. So analytics again. Analytics after you publish a skill, it gives you a really detailed way of how users interacting between Alexa. So you can see if someone failed. So for example, in our case, we used Alexa ask a random code. I want a code, right? If the users, maybe you have like two users that are saying I want a random, or they are not saying the right way, right? So in analytics, you can see every interaction, every user, how it's interacting with the skill, and you can improve and fix or make it more interactive with users. And yeah, one more thing for to make a skill private or publish it, make it public. So you have the option of doing so. So for example, you can publish your skill Alexa Business for Alexa for Business, which is inside an AWS account. So in that case, you basically need AWS account. So once you publish it inside Alexa for Business, it will be privately available inside your AWS account. So you can give it like specific people the authorization to use the skill, or you can just publish it public. Okay, after you fill this stuff, you're going to be asked if you want it to be private or public. So yeah, I think I covered. So yeah, any questions? Yes, Anas.
Thank you, Abu. So you have you've written an article about this. Do you? We can share it. I think.
Yes.
Can you?
Yeah. Alexa in Arabic. So everything that I went through, how you can add the language, the two different interaction models about English and Arabic, how you can add the localization, and how to do DynamoDB queries. So yeah, I've added the link inside the presentation, and again, it's an open source. So yeah. So if you visit this URL, you can just clone and use it.
Abu, if you can share the link so I can put it in the comments with the audience.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So we have Flymoon. He's asking, can we program in language other than JavaScript?
Yeah. So first, You can use JavaScript, Node.js. You have Python, option of Python, and recently they added Java too. So basically, if we go through the code, this whole thing is being done inside one Lambda function, right? And or let's say it will be done under one Lambda function. So let's say when you interact with the Alexa skill, it will trigger or run the Lambda function, and it will process and return, and then it will stop the Lambda function. So it's really serverless.
Okay, guys. So I shared the link for Avo's article on dev. And there's another link we're gonna share as well. It's how I haven't got a chance to read this, but Faz shared it with us. It's how Alexa learned Arabic.
Yeah, I can add a bit of context over there. So it's a pretty interesting article. It actually talks about and it also shows you the kind of journey you would want to go through when you're actually building machine learning models. In this case, the Alexa team actually had to build. They already had a model for MSA, Modern Standard Arabic, and then they had to build one for the Khaliji dialect. And how they actually separated the two and then built that out. It's a pretty interesting article just to like understand the different nuances behind it, like how they build the automatic speech recognition, how they build the NLU part. So great read from the engineering team. I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed.
Thanks, Faz. Guys, any more questions? It's an intro. We can talk a lot about Alexa. I think we will have more meetups and presentations, right, Faz, for building Alexa skills. So, guys, thank you all for being here tonight. And
I have
please,
actually, Anas, I have a quick something that
sure.
recently, okay, so Amazon recently released actually amazing machines or robots, let's say, that are Amazon Alexa powered by Alexa. So I just want to take a quick check out. So first we have Amazon Astro, which is an amazing robot. Again, it's powered by Alexa. And these are all on the market. You can buy it now if you want. The smart thermostat, again, by Alexa. We have the wall-mounted Echo Show. Okay, this one is for kids. Alexa, hey Disney. This is actually a really good one. So it's an interactive projector between the Amazon Globe, which is powered by Alexa again, and maybe for kids. Okay, and the drone thing, yeah.
Oh, wow, there's lots of exciting devices coming out. And no, I only thought about it as before as IoT, the smart.
Right.
But it's going into education. It's going to
yes
topics as well. And,
and they did like several partnerships with big companies. So for example, automobile companies that let's say they by default they will implement the Alexa inside it. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Faz, do you have any?
I'm gonna stop sharing.
Yeah, I mean, I think on what Avedis actually shared on other use cases, I don't know how many of you actually talk to your car when you're actually doing stuff. There is also Echo Auto. It gives you a hands-free Alexa in your car, and this is very interesting because it also means that you can actually do a lot of other things in terms of how you interact with your car, right? And if you're actually building smart applications within your car to interact with whatever devices you're having within your car, right? You usually would use a BT sensor, and you could look at something like this. And one of the advantages with Alexa is that when you build a skill, you also can leverage off of Lambda, the AWS Lambda, the serverless compute that we have, and that opens up a whole new world of compute and processing that you can actually use behind the scenes. So Ahmed has also shared, I mean, there are 160 plus Alexa skills in Arabic. I mean, and you can just imagine the amount of opportunity that you have right now to open up building specific skills for, you know, different kinds of use cases, whether it's education, whether it's small businesses, for example, using Alexa. It's almost there on, you could put it on any phone you need right now, whether it's Android or iOS. So, I mean, do explore, go ahead. And if you're interested in having future sessions on this, or maybe even a workshop, I mean, do provide in the feedback. I mean, it'll be great for us to know if there is a bit of interest in running a workshop for Alexa also, and then we can try something in that. Yep. So Flymoon's already looking at that, so that's also on Arabic skill. Thanks a lot for that.
Thank you, guys. Yeah. So I guess this is it. There's one more link I'm gonna share fast, right? The one for Alexa in your car.
Yep.
I'm gonna put it in the comments, and here. So yeah, I have the Echo Auto in my car, and I use it for fun a lot. You know, when we're on a road trip and we have those trivia games or
right.
Very fun, and it recognizes everyone in the car, and it's got lots of character as well, Alexa. You know?
Oh, that's interesting for long trips. So I mean, folks, if you're actually, maybe you could build a couple of skills for cross country driving, you know, across the GCC or even across North Africa. So yeah, there you go.
So we would love to see more interaction from the developer community to build Alexa skills. Of course, Ahmed, this is just the beginning. It's a great beginning, and hopefully we will have more meetups as well, you know, around Alexa skills, building Alexa skills in Arabic. شكرا للجميع واهلا وسهلا فيكم يعني كل مره ويلا ان شاء الله خير الى اللقاء and thank you everyone and see you soon all soon. Goodbye. Bye, Avo. Thank you, Avo. Thank you, Faz. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Anas, and everyone have a safe week ahead.